What's up and welcome guys, my name's Corey Amar and today I'm going to be talking to you about tap water and bottled water and which one you think and I think and the facts show is better for you and for the environment, for the earth and everything. So first of all, how many of you drink water? If you're a carbon-based life form on the planet Earth, you are a living thing, you probably have at least some type of liquid in your body. As human beings, we are mostly made of water. Our earth is covered in mostly water, and most of us drink water. So the next question would be, what do you normally drink? Do you normally drink tap water? Do you normally drink bottled water? You might want to ask yourself why you drink tap water or why you drink bottled water. Do you think it tastes better? Do you think it's more convenient? Do you think it's healthier for you? These are some questions that I had to ask, and so I went and I did some research. The main things to do with tap water and bottled water are going to be the regulations, because they have two different regulating agencies, whether they're economical, which means how much it costs to actually produce a bottle of water and kind of their carbon footprint. Also their environmental effects, which is around the same kind of alignment with that subject as well, is how much it costs to produce them and whether they're convenient, as well as convenience, and then also health, which one's better for you, right? So first thing we need to understand is that regulation agencies. So the regulation agency for tap water is actually the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, whereas the regulation agency for bottled water is actually the FDA. And what's important to understand about the FDA is that their regulations have to be very broad, because the regulations for bottled water actually cover other drinks, such as flavored water and other types of beverages. So they can't necessarily get really strict on bottled water, because they'd have to have a separate regulatory kind of guidelines for bottled water if they did that. As far as tap water, well, it's the EPA, because tap water goes out to everybody, so it's more widespread. Everybody has tap water in their house in the USA, and you have to be able to work with tap water with a certain level of environmental concerns, because it's going out to everyone. So generally the guidelines for tap water end up being much more strict and much more regulated, and the consequences for lack of regulation are much more invasive. So they get checked more often, and the vats of water in quantity that goes to your home is actually a lot larger. So when they actually check say bottled water out of a spring, they're kind of usually only checking a certain number of times throughout a certain number of bottles that get filled. They're not checking the entire thing, whereas tap water gets checked on a much larger scale and then sent to your home. The EPA also is a standard throughout the entire US, and so they have different regulations for different types of water, and different water sources in different areas of the U.S. have different guidelines, so they can actually tailor guidelines for water for specific areas that have water, which is something the FDA obviously doesn't do. They have a blanket regulation that covers all of tap water. So it doesn't matter where it's coming out, they just have a really broad blanket regulation. As far as economical and environmental concerns go, in the US there's actually 17 billion barrels of oil that are used each year to produce 30 billion plastic bottles. So if you think about that, you're getting, what, 2 plastic bottles for every barrel of oil, which is a huge environmental concern. It's actually producing tons and tons and tons of carbon emissions. You know, the huge effects that plastic production has on the environment as well. All of these plastic bottles, 86% of plastic bottles that are created end up in our landfills. They don't get reused, or they end up in our landfills, and obviously plastic takes a long time to break down, so there's a huge environmental effect of all that. And economically, it just doesn't make sense. It actually takes 3 times the amount of water to create a bottled water than it does to actually fill that bottled water. So it's a waste of resources, that's for sure. Convenience, right? We all want to be convenient. We all want to have whatever's easiest to take with us. Personally, every morning before work, I grab a bottle of water, without really thinking about whether it's better for me or not. I just grab it from the fridge. It's already cold. But now more and more these days we can get health conscious about our containment vessels. So we have filtering systems that we can put in our fridges that drop the total dissolved solids down to 0, which filters tap water and bottled water down to almost no total dissolved solids. So there's nothing else in there other than pure H2O. That's another thing to realize, is that if we can make some adjustments to our life, we can actually increase the convenience of using tap water. As far as health goes, there are a lot of minerals that are in tap water that are not in bottled water. Some of those minerals are bad. I mean, you're thinking about copper, arsenic, lead. Those are 3 main minerals that are in tap water that are usually not found in significant levels in bottled water. But those, like I said, are all regulated. So there is a certain amount of all of those minerals that are not harmful to the human body. Obviously lead is, when people talk about lead being in water, it's a scary thing. But, so with a few minor changes to lifestyle and to making the tap water more convenient to use, maybe adding a filter system, buying a nice aluminum anodized containment system that stays cold all day, you can definitely make tap water more convenient and make it easier to keep. And in the long run, it is healthier. And, eventually the regulation comparisons is really what draws me to tap water. There's a larger scale regulatory agency on tap water that we all have to use. And obviously we all have tap water in our homes. So overall, tap water is better than bottled water, and if you're willing to make some minor lifestyle changes, you too can tap into these benefits.